seamstress here. In this video we're going to be having a look at how to understand a sewing pattern. When you first start sewing, it can be really intimidating and daunting to see all these patterns with photos and illustrations and drawings and information. There's levels and measurements and everything. It can be really a lot to take in. So we thought we will just slow the process down a bit, have a look at all the information on a sewing pattern. This applies pretty much to any pattern from any company you could shop with. We are going to look at the blazer and all the information on here, but the principles apply to any sewing patterns, so hopefully this will be a really useful video for you to take forward. So normally the front of a pattern, whether you're buying the physical product or a PDF, which would be a digital file, it will have a lovely picture of the pattern, and you probably will know straight off whether it's right for you or not, but there is a lot more information to help you make that decision. So the back of the pattern will hold a wealth of useful information for you. It will give you a really good idea of whether or not a pattern is suitable for you. So beginner patterns are aimed at those making their first couple of dressmaking projects. You might have made, a cushion or a tote bag or something, and you're ready to take the next step and make your first dress or top. Intermediate patterns are for the kind of next level up, people who are confident using a sewing machine. They've made a few dressmaking projects and they're really ready to take the next step up in their dressmaking skills. So this will normally be on the back of the pattern as well. Some companies will put it on the front. On ours, you will see it's at the very top of the envelope here. So the blazer, you can see, is an intermediate pattern. If you are new to sewing, it's definitely worthwhile getting a beginner's sewing pattern. As tempting as it can be to dive in and go straight into an intermediate pattern, as much as you love the design, it could really just put you off sewing forever if you try something that's too challenging from the start. So look out for beginner friendly sewing patterns. There are loads out there. You don't have to compromise on the style and quality. You can still make yourself a really amazing, cool garment that you have sewn yourself. Another really important thing to look for on your pattern is the industrial drawing. This can also be called a line drawing. It's basically an outline of the design. So this will give you loads more information than perhaps a photograph would. It shows any key construction elements, so you can see your zips, darts, gathering, whether it's got long and short sleeves. Also you'll be able to see all the options for the pattern that one photograph wouldn't be able to show you. The industrial drawing is really helpful for knowing whether a pattern is for you or not. Quite often, the photo it will be on a certain type of body, done with specific fabrics and styled in a certain way that might not be for you. Whereas the line drawing or the industrial drawing literally shows you the outline of it, so you can envisage it with your style, how you'd wear it, how you'd style it, what fabric you'd make it in. It's a really good kind of blank canvas way of seeing the design. So as well as the industrial drawing, a pattern will generally have a written description about it as well. This will give you some more information about the pattern and tell you more about design and construction elements too. So this will give you more information about things like darts, whether it has pockets, the different variations that are included in the pattern, such as sleeve lengths, or if it's a dress it might have different lengths that are included as well. So it's really helpful, definitely worth reading that when you are looking at a sewing pattern as well. The pattern will also include suggested fabrics. So this will be telling you what type of fabric would be suitable to make the pattern. This is really important. It will tell you things like whether it's meant for stretch fabric, so maybe a jersey, or whether it's for heavyweight or lightweight. So this is really important for things, say for example jeans or trousers. Some will be designed to be made in a more lightweight fabric for more of a fluid feel, whereas others will need a really rigid denim. So pay really good attention to this and try not to deviate from it too much. The pattern will also give you the fabric requirements, so you'll know how much you need, and also the width of the fabric. So fabrics will be sold in different widths, so you might have a 114cm bolt or a 150, so obviously you'll need different amounts of material for different patterns. Some patterns might have particularly wide pieces, so you won't be able to make them on a certain width fabric at all. So that is also really crucial information, so you know what fabric to go for when you are buying your fabric for a project. You'll also be told any other supplies that you need, for example zips or buttons and how many. Again, this is really important to take note of before you start your project, because there's nothing more disheartening than being ready to go forward with the next step in your sewing project, and then you go, oh, I haven't got the zip, or you haven't got whatever it was that you needed. So before you start sewing, also have a look at any supplies that are needed to complete your project. This will also include things like interfacing, and if perhaps your pattern needs any lining, that'll be another thing that you need to factor in before you start sewing. Your pattern will also have a body measurements chart, so this will have all the sizes included in the pattern, but the measurements that fall within those sizes. So if you are, for example, a size 14 in high street shops, it doesn't mean you're going to be a 14 in a sewing pattern. Different pattern companies size their patterns differently. Some might do a 1 to a 10, others, even if it does say UK 6, 8, 10, 12, it doesn't mean it's going to be the same as in the shops. So this is really important to check each of your measurements. There'll typically be bust, waist and hip measurements on patterns, so you can see where you fall. Some pattern companies also offer extended size ranges, so you'll need to check on the pattern whether your size fits within this one. So it might be that, say, one pattern range is a size 6 to a size 18, and then they have a separate pattern that is a size 16 to a size 22. So see which one you fall into and make sure you're buying yourself the right one. There will also generally be finished garment measurements on a sewing pattern, so it'll either be on the pattern itself or inside the instruction booklet inside. This will give you the measurements of the finished garment, so rather than your actual body measurements, it's showing you if you measured the finished dress or blazer or whatever it is that you're going to be making. This also helps you to work out how much ease is in a pattern. So for example, this is quite a boxy, roomy t-shirt, so it's going to have a lot of ease, so the finished garment measurements are going to be really different from the body measurements. So this helps you work out what size you want to go for, because you might not want so much ease in certain parts. You might want to go for, say, a really relaxed blazer, or you might want a more fitted one. So it's well worth checking the body measurements and the finished garment measurements before you cut. Finding a sewing pattern that inspires you is such a great feeling, and then you get to choose your fabrics and really make it your own and put your own spin on it. It's fantastic. There is a lot of information on a pattern, but generally if you just kind of slow down, take your time to read it all, take it in. And finally, just don't be afraid to ask for help. The sewing community is so welcoming and supportive. We are more than happy to answer any questions you might have with your projects. You can email us or find us on social media. I really hope this video has been helpful. We have loads of other blog posts and videos for all levels of sewists, so please do have a look, and we will catch you next time. Bye!